Hello. So I've been thinking about this whole, job, it being hard to hire someone. It being hard to get a job fiasco in the U.S. at least. I've been thinking about that, and I guess for this video I'm doing something unusual, different than just the system's bad. I'm thinking of explaining what America can do to make it easier to get a job. Now, this isn't a little disclaimer. This isn't like a how to make it easier for you to get a job, or how to get a job or how to get a specific job, or how to get a job. Period. This isn't about it. This is just about how to make things a little easier on people. A little easier. And I was thinking to do that. I think maybe more people should be doing what I'm doing, is getting into freelance. I'm starting a YouTube channel, trying to get ad revenue to get money. I think more people should do that, because I think a lot of people could have a lot of cool stuff to say. And if it's just getting harder and harder to get into the normal working world, then what choice do people even have besides freelance or odd jobs to do something else? That's one way I see people can make it a bit easier, is go freelance. Another way I think people can make things easier is, well, okay, this is kind of getting into the system, but it's not too deep. Or maybe it is. Anyways, I think if people want easier jobs, or it to be easier to get a job, I think people need to stop, voting. Because what good does that do? It's like, I mean, if you vote, you're putting politicians in charge of the economy, in charge of your life, in charge of your jobs, your money. That's not going to help. The politicians just get the jobs sent overseas due to overregulation or regulation at all. It's like you make it so you have to pay your employees this much, and the company can't quite afford to do that. They just go over to like a place with cheaper labor, such as China, and hire people over there for cheaper, because they're too expensive in America. So, you gotta have government stop taking the jobs, or killing jobs, or sending jobs overseas. Another aspect of that is not only stop voting for politicians, stop voting for public policy like the raise the minimum wage. That's not going to work. I mean, if you raise the minimum wage by government mandate rather than free market forces, you can cost jobs that way. You can cost even entire businesses that way. You can cost shift length that way, or even shifts that way. Because if a company can't afford to pay their employee this much, and you make them have to pay their employee this much, then they essentially can't afford to pay their employee at all. So they pretty much have to fire people if they can't pay what the government demands they pay. So stop voting for politicians and policy and freelance, I guess. But okay, this isn't the most legit video, or the most good impact video, but this is kind of what I just had in my mind, so I figured I'd just impromptu just start talking. So I think another thing, but I guess that's kind of on the system side. What about what people can do on the business side or the economic side? Well, I think what people can do is stop. Oh yeah, I gotta go in. Parents, if you can take your kids anywhere other than public school, like homeschooling or private school, do so. Please, do so. Public schooling is not going to really prepare your kid for the outside working world. It's not. Sorry, my skin is kind of like my nose. Anyways, because all public school is indoctrination camp. That's all it is. That's all it really can be, being all public and all. With the fact that the government wants to indoctrinate people, so it obeys it. And with the fact that they kind of just want your money, for attendance alone. And the fact that the education system isn't even that effective. So if you want kids to get a good education, they get a good job, private school, homeschool them, charter school, magnet school, anything other than public school, anything other than that shit, that could help people a bit more. On another note, if you're a business owner and you're requiring your employees to have all these ridiculous qualifications, to get hired, like requiring a janitor to have a bachelor's degree, or a cashier at HEB to have a bachelor's degree, or any low-level job to have a bachelor's degree. Stop doing that. If it's not even due to regulation or whatever, and you're just doing it just because it seems nice or whatever for employees to have all this unnecessary education, then stop doing that. You're only gonna make it harder to hire people if you make them jump through all these damn hoops just to get a simple job. Stop. Also, college is getting way too expensive. So I think if people could get the government out of that, it'd make things a bit easier. Like, if all these jobs are going to require college anyway, no matter what, then if you can make college cheaper to get into by getting rid of government interference, like how much they loan out to people, which entices colleges to just charge more for tuition, get the government out of that, and you can make college cheaper. So you still have to work for it, but it'll be a lot easier. So it'd be easier to get that better education and get a better job. That's another way people can make things easier. What else can people do? Hold on, I know I got some more. I think people. I think if there were less regulation, I don't know. Okay, that kind of goes into the don't vote. I don't really know how to explain this one. I heard. Okay, this gonna sound really bizarre. I heard one time Tesla. No, not Tesla. SpaceX. Sorry, SpaceX once launched a rocket against government permission and regulation, and it did what it needed to get done, which was like test the rocket, make sure it works, at least in that regard. So I'd say good for them. The point is, if a business can run against government regulation and still do good, I think more businesses should do that. Do some civil disobedience. If government doesn't want me to make money, and the best way I know how to make money, well, then I'm just gonna try it anyway, I think America has let itself get back into a corner, like, way too much with the just comply thing. So that's definitely not gonna help. So I think if people could do a little more civil disobedience, that'd be great. Because it's gotten to the point where if people let things go on any longer, it's just gonna be like no turning back, or point of no return. Okay, well maybe that sounds just a bit like hyperbole, or maybe it is, but I do feel like the sooner people start rebelling, the better. Because all this complying just leads to more complying, more regulations, more stress, more frustration. And I think I would advocate tax evasion, but that's kind of hard. But I think that probably will have to be done eventually. Maybe going into cryptocurrency might be helpful. Invest in that. How to pay people in that. How to get paid in that. That might work. Fly under the government's radar. Another thing could be give the government less things to freaking tax, or take tax money away for. Like, if you no longer support the war on drugs, that's less money to take away for the war on drugs. It's like if nobody votes for policy to make drugs illegal, or minimum sentencing laws or whatever for drug use, if nobody really supports that shit, then that's less power to the government to take tax dollars away and fund that policy. There'll be no more policy to even fund if people just stop really caring about the war on drugs. Or people could stop drug testing for drugs that don't even matter to be tested for. for jobs don't really matter for drug testing at all, that'd be great. Okay, I'm sorry this video wasn't very good, but that's the best I could really do at the moment. I'm not really, like I said before, this is impromptu, and I don't really know much to say other than just sharing my immediate thoughts, my impromptu thoughts. I mean, yeah. I think if people want a better economy, they need to take a stand. You know, Trump's tariffs suck. And they're only going to continue sucking as long as people keep voting people like Trump in, or anybody in for that matter, and keep having them control the economy rather than them control the economy. I think it'd be cool if there's a way to, like, disobey tariffs. I'm not quite sure how you do that, because U.S. Customs is pretty strict on that shit. But, you know, I think the solution overall to this starts out with getting independent from the government. You know, less government, that's the start. And just more creativity for how to make money, that's the start too. I really want to make some YouTube ad revenue, but it's really hard to get, you know, the money flowing as the camera is rolling. I can't believe I messed that up. So yeah, that's all I have for to really say for now. Do, you know, like, don't vote, do non-public education, freelance, maybe some civil disobedience here and there. Stop being part of the problem with ridiculous business practices. Like, I guess I could go into a little more of that fifth one. Like, I don't get why businesses won't hire overqualified people. It's like, they're overqualified. That means they're qualified and then some. Hire them. If they fit, hire them. And I don't always get don't like businesses care about how long you've been without work. Like, you should be focused on the here and now, not the then and there or whatever. I mean, and if you don't hire an employee that's been out of a job for a while, they end up not having a job for an even longer while, which makes no sense. Like, we want employees that work all the time, that always had a job, one right after the other, and we want them to work pretty much the whole time. Yeah, we won't hire them if they haven't had a job the whole time. Yeah. And also, I guess they already got rid of affirmative action, so that's good, but that was a bad policy. Stop asking prospective employees stupid questions like what pets they have. I've been asked that for some jobs. That's really dumb. That doesn't help out with the hiring process at all. But anyways, yeah, you know, better business practices, better hiring practices, that could always help. So yeah. I guess this is all I have for now. But anyways, that's my 2 cents to say. Anyways, I hope it mattered for something. Anyways, bye.